Final Fantasy. One might wonder, how did it evolve from this into this? 14 main titles on, and it's still one of the world's most popular series of video games. I've got them all, and I've finished them all. I love them. In my humble opinion, it wasn't until Final Fantasy VI that the series became truly legendary. And amazingly, the first game ever released outside of Japan or America was Final Fantasy VII. Since then, every game in the series has had a local release, thanks to the multiple remakes over the years. The DS remakes of Final Fantasy 3 and 4 in particular are fantastic, and I'm hoping that Final Fantasy 5 and 6 remakes are on the way for the 3DS. What makes Final Fantasy games so amazing then? For me, it's mainly the story and the characters. In this regard, some games succeed a lot more than others. The stories of the first 3 games, for example, are extremely weak, with cardboard casts of characters and by-the-numbers plots. Final Fantasy IV was the first time Square gave some real pathos to the story and personality to its cast. Another aspect that makes a Final Fantasy game genuine is Nobuo Uematsu's music. It's the heart and soul of the series, one of the reasons that, for me, Final Fantasy XIII didn't really feel like a part of the series, because it was completely devoid of Uematsu. My exciting news is that in the middle of April I'll be attending a Distant Worlds concert performed by the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. Uematsu-san himself is attending as a special guest, and I've bought a ticket to a meet and greet afterwards where I'll get him to sign my CD. I'll be sure to post pictures. I can't believe I'll actually get to meet one of my heroes. So far, there's been 3 Final Fantasy games released for every generation of consoles. 1, 2 and 3 on Nintendo, 4, 5 and 6 on Super Nintendo, 7, 8, 9 on PlayStation, 10, 11, 12 on PlayStation 2, and so far 13 and 14 on PS3 and others. I'm sure Final Fantasy 15 is in the pipeline somewhere. Every game has a completely original story, unrelated to any of the others. I love that every time you begin a new game, it's all a brand new experience. Of course, there are always the familiar elements, chocobos, moogles, airships, crystals, and the like. So this week I'm supposed to be talking about Final Fantasy IV. It's far from my favourite in the series, but I do like it, especially the DS remake. Poor Dark Knight Cecil has been ordered by his king to do things that go against his moral grain.
I've worn this darkened armor for so long now. There's no mote of light left in me. Not even in my heart.
As he begins to unravel the plot and ultimately transforms from a Dark Knight into a Paladin, he makes a whole new group of friends from all over the world who help him on his quest to defeat an evil overlord called Golbez. Although the story begins really strongly, there's so many really stupid moments in this game, and they seem to be the ones that stick in my head the most. So many characters seemingly sacrifice themselves for no apparent reason except that it's the only way, and in every case they end up surviving their sacrifice anyway. First time was kinda dumb, the third time it starts to get ridiculous. Unlike the game before it, which had 4 generic characters that could change job whenever they wanted, in Final Fantasy IV, every playable character has their own unique job, and as the story progresses, the party structure is constantly changing, and you have to adjust your playstyle accordingly. It's the only game in the whole Final Fantasy series that lets you have 5 party members, not counting the MMOs of course. This means that some of the later battles get extremely intense, which is great. It's also one of the only Final Fantasy games to receive a direct sequel, which was released episodically on WiiWare. It's alright. I played through the entire thing, but it's completely unnecessary, and the story is even more absurd than the original. I think generally, Final Fantasy IV stands the test of time. It's still an enjoyable role-playing game, but I see no reason why anyone would need to go back and play the original Super Nintendo version when the DS remake does everything better.
Quickly, we mustn't linger here. What of the girl?
We take her with us.
And the original was never released in Australia.
Come, it's not safe here. Take my hand.
No!
We've no time. Use force if you must.
Leave me alone! I hate you!
Did you know that Final Fantasy IV was my 50th game played this year? There's no sign of slowing down though. Next week I'll look at another Super Nintendo launch title, as well as what's possibly the most remade game in history. Peace